people should listen to the Zip Code Plays because of actually many different reasons. LA is super, super diverse. And I don't know that people always get a chance to experience that. And what I mean by that is literally, we get into our routines and we sort of, you don't go to Echo Park, you don't go to North Hollywood, you don't go to Westwood because it's too far for driving or this or that or this or that. And we tend to only peripherally examine peripherally kind of get a feel for what neighborhoods are. And more than that, the people that live there, and more than that, the people that kind of created those neighborhoods. And so I hope that through this art that you get to get deeper, that people will get deeper into what the neighborhoods are. And, even for my North Hollywood play, I've got like one section of North Hollywood is what I'm examining. I don't even talk about culture. I don't talk about like who founded this area. I don't talk about the inhabitants. There's just so much richness going on in LA, and I just hope that these give a little bit of a piece where people feel like, oh, I'll go explore that. I will look into that community, not just go and take from it, but go there. And if you do have a coffee, sit down and talk to people and look who really lives there, and just soak it up in a way as opposed to this sort of this like consumer way that we have of either like driving through a town and making opinions about it, or maybe grabbing some food and taking it home and not really getting involved. It was a roundabout way of saying, I hope that by listening to the Zip Code Plays that we learn more about each other and about community. I'm Pepper Chambers. If you want to learn more about my play, The End of the Line, and Antaeus' Zip Code Plays, please watch this video. I heard about the Zip Code Plays because I am in another theater group, Circle X Emerging Playwrights group, and Kari Wyatt is in that group. And he mentioned that he had the Zip Code Plays. He sent us the link to it. And of course, my mind was blown. It's like, oh my gosh, it's a radio play. And so I listened and I loved it. But that's how I was introduced. And I knew I had to give it a go somehow, some way, be a part of it. So my play, End of the Line, started out as a 10-minute play, also for Antaeus. So they were doing submissions for a 10-minute play. And again, this was all during pandemic. I was like, I'm going to write a story. So I wrote a story that's, of course, loosely based on myself and my husband. And this couple is sitting on the porch, getting drunk on a Tuesday afternoon, and she starts to lose it because he's not listening to her. And, but they laugh and they hug and they kiss at the end. So I had that in mind. And then I also had a more serious topic in mind. So I am very close with the folks over at Lower Depth Theater Ensemble. And right before pandemic, I forgot the month, let's just say it was September, October of 2020. They did a play called Safe Harbor by Tara Palmquist. And that was through they have a commission series on violence, and the topic was on sex trafficking and human trafficking. So I was a part of the development process in terms of literally just helping and being there and listening to Tara's words about these two girls who are trafficked. And through that, we also had experts coming in and talking to us about it. So since last year, or 2020, I'll say, it was very much on my mind. How do I get involved? How do we watch for signs? And literally, like I said, I live in North Hollywood, and there's a coffee shop over here. And one day there was a woman there, and my instinct was like, I know she's being trafficked. What do I do? And it was this terrible, awful freak out moment of not knowing what to do and seeing she's in this situation and feeling absolutely helpless and terrified at the same time. So in that moment, I was able to kind of get her, a coffee and talk to her a little bit. And so that experience is what I brought into my play. And I know that many of us, we see these people on the street, these people meaning not those people, but people on the street, and you're just not certain sometimes of what is going on in their lives, and you're sitting there with your coffee and, your sunglasses, living this life, and everything is not maybe great for you, but something is really going on with them. And so I just wanted to shine a light on awareness and being aware of what's going on in our community, and also finding the tools to actually help people that actually need our help. So end of the line, the main story of it is there's a woman, she's having some cocktails on her porch with her husband here in North Hollywood, and all of a sudden she hears a commotion downstairs and she runs down there and she tries to help this woman who's in trouble. And it turns out that she learns, she has the thought about herself and who she's really trying to help, if it's the woman or herself. My team, our team, the team is fantastic naturally. So our director is Greg Daniel. And again, he's one of the co-founders of Lower Depth Theater Ensemble. So I got really lucky in terms of Greg is already associated with Antaeus. And so I got lucky that he said yes, that he would direct this wonderful piece. So Greg came on to the piece, and then the rest of the actors are obviously from the group. And so we have Tamara, and we have Rob, and we have Millie/Mildred. And so Tamara and Rob are the couple, and Millie is the woman in trouble. And they are absolutely fantastic, just in terms of the essence of the characters, because it's all audio. And they really understood what I was trying to get across in terms of not just the humor, because you have to have humor even in these tense moments, but also the love of the character, the love between the husband and wife, and then the delicate intimacy and another type of love for these two Black women that are in very different economic and just sort of life situations and how they connect. So all three of them are just fantastic, which you'll hear. And then how about the audio? So Jeff Gardner, as everyone knows, I learned so much, so much, like little things like, okay, so if you're, if as a writer and if you want someone to take a sip, not just the sound, but when do they take a sip? So do they take a sip before? And then I said such and such and such and such. Or is it I such and such and such and such? And Jeff was like, okay, so if you put that moment here, it sets up this type of drama. If you put it here, it puts a space. So I learned so much about the technique, but also the storytelling that is in sound, I don't even know how to explain the excitement I have of working on this and the knowledge that Jeff brought. He's so brilliant. And it's a art form that I feel is sort of lost, and I feel like he's got a great handle on it. And it's great at communicating to all of us, whether direction for Greg to direct the actors or for me and how to write it into the script. And then of course for the actors to execute. So it was absolutely fantastic. So the difference that I'm finding between writing a regular stage play and a radio play is that you're thinking of it literally just in a different way. So you're thinking about the sound effects. So literally you're writing in SFX, like sound effects, and you might say, heels walking on the concrete. But then you get into what type of heels. Like, is it a chunky wood heel? Is it a spiky heel? Because you think like those make different sounds. And also we know that type of heel is going to be related to your character. So like if you're in the spike heel, is it a woman that's like, in a business suit and blah, blah, blah? Or if it's a chunky heel, is she kind of, like grungy woman walking through the city. So you get really specific in the type of sound and then where you want it to go and how you want it to be used. And so that's just one part, is the sound effect. And then within there, you're thinking about how sound informs your audience about what's going on. So for example, I have a cafe scene, and there were things like we put in the bell of the door, for the door opening and closing. So then you would know, okay, you have this feeling of like, this is a busy cafe. There's people coming and going. And then the sound behind us, we have the sound of a chair scraping across the floor. And that got really specific. Is it a wood floor? Is it a wood chair on a concrete floor? Is it a metal chair on wood? And you start thinking about those sounds. And as you're writing for that medium, your imagination just explodes in another way. So I still may have written for a stage play, I still may have written that, they're sitting in a metal chair, But now for the stage play, for the radio play, I'm like, ooh, when do I want to hear that specific sound and why? And is it fast? Like, is the character mad? So, you get a quick sound, or is it slow because someone's creeping in? There's just all these things that you can bring in and play with. But it's specific. Like you can't just be willy-nilly with it. You have to say, like I said, the metal chair on the wood, because that says something. It tells you where you are. And you just get another toy box of specifics to play with in this medium. I would say, yes, it is another character, the sound and the audio and the directions. I want the audience, after listening to End of the Line, what I really want is for people to have an awakening, to have an awareness, and to really pay attention to community. I feel that we are all here, we're living on, especially in a big city like LA, like we are living on top of each other, and we're not brushing each other like we are in New York, but we're all together, this microcosm. And instead of just sort of putting your blinders on and walking like this, I just want people to open up and to pay attention and to look at our biases and remove them when we can, and understand when they are at play. And I just want us to have to make our human connection deeper. And that's what I hope people will feel when they listen to this play. And I'm laughing because there's humor too. So I do hope that they get a couple chuckles in the beginning. I am Pepper Chambers. And if you enjoyed this conversation, please walk your way over, get your way over, run over, click over, do whatever you need to do to enjoy the Zip Code plays and everything else that is offered with this lovely theater company. Thank you.